Hey everyone, Happy New Year! I have a lot to share with you. Some of it is unfinished. Alright, for this I'll talk you through a little bit because I did not do a process video for any of this because I just basically filled it up when I went to my sister's for Christmas and then when I went on the retreat. So I bought these cards at Goodwill and it's watercolor paper, and I said I was gonna do something. I didn't end up doing anything, but it's there for when I go back to it. This was from a gift bag, so I put it afterwards. And then I have a pocket spacer, stuff. I didn't do much this day except, final shopping, so I put the receipts here and write a little bit about that. I have these pockets in here for more journaling. I got this card in the mail from Spelman College where I teach, and I thought I'd put it in here. I had this card and I just put it on this side that was blank. It has my personal address there, so I put that over it. So I have these I had these pockets in here in case I got cards from my family, but we didn't do much cards this year. And I made a list of things to pack because I was going to my sister's, but I also was then going to go to South Carolina for 5 days. So I have those things to do before I left. And two of the things were to put water bottles in because I wasn't going to be here and my plants. This is a way for them to survive for a week. And to wrap the presents, which I did on Christmas Eve. I have this card that I got also from Goodwill from that trip. And a scrap as a card. This was also a card that I just used as a pocket. And so this was Christmas Day, you know, opening presents. My sister got a really cute ornament from her 5-year-old son. My mom, and this is my nephew. I didn't have everybody's picture in here because I didn't take that much. We were just, you know, busy doing stuff. And this was the food. I had my Instax printer with me, so I printed out those when I went to my sister. Had some extra cards in here. And then the picture of my family, my sisters, in-laws, and yeah. So, and of course, pockets. And so this signature was the 22nd to the 25th. This signature was the 26th, 27th, and 28th, 29th, 30, 31. So it all worked out and I could spread out a lot more. So for this day, it was travel day. So I have my boarding pass and other like notes to indicate that. I had this map, I believe someone sent me, it may have been Debbie when I was in Utah, when she sent me that box of stuff. I think that's what was in there too. So I used it because just to show from where I was going from Georgia to South Carolina. It was a 1-hour flight to Augusta. And when I got to the cabin, you know, or the large room, I had a private room because anytime I do these kinds of, and I can afford it, or I know I'm going to be reimbursed in some way, I try to do a private room because I prefer to be on my own and than to have a roommate at this age. I've had 20 roommates in my life. I think now at this stage in my life that the roommate thing, yeah, if I can avoid it, I avoid it. So we had to get groceries because it was so remote and they only had a cafeteria and I didn't hear great things. Even though when I went, the cafeteria wasn't bad, but it was good to have like breakfast stuff in my room. I could, you know, heat stuff up, put stuff in a fridge. So worked out. And I put this fabric down here just to indicate, you know, same kind of travel theme going. I was going to put a picture here, but I didn't get around to it. But I'm not going to take off the double-sided tape until I know what's what. And this was like the place that we went to, and they gave us a map to get around, and my cabins were on that side. And we had different activities in different parts of the compound, so it was good to have this map. And once again, I just love putting fabric in my, like, fabric I don't know what else to do with. I put it in here. And this was the next day. I got a lot of writing done, especially early morning. And I had all of these, and I had sewn this in here. And I think it's for this size picture anyway. So it turns out it worked out really great to have, you know. So I played piano in the hall, I wrote by the fire, I wrote by the lake. It was a really good experience. And I got this map from the front office, and I thought it would be good to show where we are in relation to the rest of the state. And so this is where we were. And these are the facilitators who came. Poets who gave us like insight into their craft and their ideas about craft, and it was really good to hear them read on this day, so you got a sense of their own work, and some of them you may already have known, but not everybody, so it was good to meet everybody. And then, I mean, this one is kind of random because I didn't do much. I mean, there was a lot that we did that day, but I only took a picture of the craft talk where it really was useful to me, where she talked about, this is Franny Child, she talked about the art of the line, you know, because sometimes you say, well, what decisions do you make about poetry, when to stop the line, what kind of, are you going to do a series of couplets, or are you going to do stanzas, and you know, what word are you going to end each line on? And so I learned a lot about that. that I hadn't thought about, even having done a whole degree in English and creative writing and teaching it. You're always learning new things. So I love that. And this was where we were in the convention center. Just another picture of the lake. And I think I smudged it on the other side because it's basically the negative that you're putting in here, but I think it's fine. More of that fabric. Now they gave us these thank you cards to write in, but I got mine wet and smudged, so I said I would keep this one, and I wrote in 3 others and gave it to them. But it this couldn't be given away, so I kept that one. And I had another craft talk, so put that in here. And I met Tim Siebels. He was one of the facilitators, and we did one-on-one, and he gave me critique of my own work, and it was so invaluable. You know, picture of me like going down to the lake, and I always love these shots, these fall shots with like, well, not fall anymore, but you know, with like these leaves, and I just like that. And I left my really sturdy shoes at my sister's, but these shoes worked out in the end. And some more of like the ending ceremony. This was a workshop group. I just snapped them randomly. The facilitators in the end with Patricia Day. I bought this shirt that they had there on sale, and it means so much for me to wear a shirt that says poet, because some of you know, as I said, I stopped writing poetry because of a really bad workshop, and I've been coming back to it. And especially now that I'm teaching creative writing, I feel like I have to kind of get past that, and I really have. And I sent out my work, and it's been getting good reception. And then this was for travel day, and for the first time since I was there, it was like blue skies, really warm, you know. It was rainy before and just overcast because, you know, winter time. The thing though was that this bliss was definitely interrupted when they left us. They left 2 of us, 2 fellas behind. There's a shuttle to the airport, and it's an hour and maybe 30 minutes to get to the airport, and I had selected the 2:30 shuttle, and because my flight was after 6 and started boarding at 6:19, so I figured that was a safe one to pick. But we thought they were late because we were sitting there waiting since 10 a.m. and nobody came. We saw others leaving in their private cars. We hugged them, we waved to them. But 2 of us were left behind, and one of the other person, she looked up what was going on online, and it turns out that she was seeing the wrong thing. So we thought they were going to come back at 3:15, and I said, well, 3:15, that can work, because, you know, it takes an hour and a half and I'll have enough time to check my bag. I can check in online, which I did immediately. But then 3:30 came and nobody. So when we called, we found out they had left us. They were already at the airport. And so to come back to get us and go back, I wasn't going to make, and I was just like, I kind of had a meltdown, because I was like, I hate feeling so helpless and reliant on other people. And it's like, yeah, they made a mistake. And I mean, I was ready to just like listen, because I was so distressed about it. And so I say all of that to say, because this is why I have a bus tag in here, because I had to figure out another way, and they were taking the other fellow to Colombia to get the bus, because she would have missed the bus in Augusta anyway. And so I decided to check out what was happening in Colombia, if I could get a straight flight to Atlanta, which I did. And it was 4 hours on the bus as opposed to a 1-hour trip. So I got home like super late, like after midnight. And I was just glad to be home. But I mean, I have to do everything in my power to avoid the bus. These long Greyhound, Southeastern, whatever buses, because if you can avoid it, you know, it's longer. You're just more tired after the journey, and I hate going to Atlanta Greyhound Station, but I was just happy to be home. And so I'm going to write about that here, but I wasn't ready to write about it yet. Yeah, it was too soon for me to write about it because, and then I just kind of forgot about it and went on, you know, about updating it. But I will update this. Now, this I haven't done anything, and I'm thinking maybe I could do this on camera, but it's so hard sometimes for me to download my stuff. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe I have too many things in my OneDrive file. But just to show you, maybe I'll do pictures afterwards and just insert it in here. But we went to a place in Lawrenceville. They always have like a New Year's Eve. This is my second year going. My parents came, my sisters. Well, my sisters usually are there, but my parents were there this time. And so it was a really fun night, a great way to bring in 2020, because 2019 was a good year for me in terms of change. It was very traumatic in some ways, but because I was making a lot of changes and, you know, and I got this great job and whatever. And so, yeah, I'm going to write a little bit about my reflections of the year in here, which, you know, it's just going to be writing, so I don't think I need to share that with you. But just basically what I'm thankful for, what I'm hoping to do next year. Well, what I'm hoping to do this year. It's so new that I forgot that we're already in 2020. The only thing I had in here was this, but I didn't end up putting much stuff in here, because this is how I have like put the small stuff for Christmas, and I'm gonna just put it with the Christmas stuff since we're done with Christmas. But it was a place to put like the small stuff and really grab them. I got this at the thrift store at Goodwill, and obviously the person was using it for something else, but I'm using it for my Christmas ephemera, the small ones, because as you know I have a box as well. As I said, I realized that with my first book I wasn't doing a lot of journaling, and so I haven't done the backtrack ones. I'm gonna write stuff here. I need to hurry up because I always seem to do this, I forget, and then I just never update it. So I'm hoping to do that today. So, and my niece had this wrapping paper and she had a few pieces left over, and I said, you know, I'm just going to use it in my journal. So I have a few of those in there. This is another piece of wrapping paper I saved from something I got or something I gave, I don't remember. And this was a tag somebody gave me. Yeah, another tag from a bag. Yeah, and so like, my nephew came and said, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, Auntie Wandika, wake up. So I just had to snap him. He was so excited, and I remember when I was like that when it was Christmas time. And of course I kept the bag tag for that. And yeah, so I haven't written, but I'm going to try and do that. I kept the pictures here as reference to remind myself. And same day, as I said, the travel day, when this is my claim bag on the bus. And so I'm going to write a little bit about that too, about how it started out to be such a brilliant, reflective, beautiful day, and it ended up in being the worst day of the trip because we were left behind. And so this is my ticket bag that gave me back, and I'll write a little bit about that because it bled over into this day because I didn't get into my apartment until after midnight. And so I kept some of the pictures for this book too. I love this shot of me and two of my sisters. We look so happy and I love it. So I'm going to keep that one in here. So yeah, I did a lot of journaling. I did nothing for 11 months. And then the 12th month, I have 3 books.